A lot of people ask me this, and I know a lot of people hate doing it. It's very controversial, which is, should hypnotherapists do organic outreach? And my answer is always yes. Now, let me clarify what we mean by organic outreach. Organic outreach, in my perspective, is not messaging someone and trying to sell them something. That's not outreach. That's just freaking annoying. And I hate when people do that to me. The way that we look at outreach, and I'll give you an insight on the way we teach it, the way that we do outreach is what I call radar outreach. So what is this about? Because our hypnotherapists and coaches are heavily relying on their content, what we do is we do outreach to make our potential customers aware of our content. And then we allow our content to do all the heavy lifting and the sales for us. So we do not teach our students, say, hey, I'm this, go buy my product, here is what I do. There's elements of that, but we want to get away from the salesy part. What we do is that radar outreach where we're letting people know, hey, I've just created this piece of content. I think this would suit you. Now, you might be thinking, well, Scott, how do you know that content's going to suit them? Well, that's another video. That's a bit of an insider secret into 100K. I'm not going to give you that part, but just sort of go with me here. We do the radar outreach because if I send an outreach message based on the content that I've created, I want people to see it. So even if I send out a message, and we still do this to today, if I know my content can help somebody, it's not salesy in the least, I just want to answer their most common questions, we will send that out. Now, if I send out, let's say 10 messages and 9 people ignore it, and one person says, hey, I want to find out more, that could book into a strategy call. That's fine, okay? But what happens with those other 9, because it doesn't sound like very good numbers? Well, I know from that point of doing the outreach the way that we teach our students to do it, I'm now on their radar. That's what's called radar outreach. They will now see my content, and hopefully from that, my content will influence them enough to watch more of my content, more and more and more, knowing that each piece of my content is doing what? It's answering their most common questions. And from them, I want them to make the first move with me. I want them to associate me as the expert that can help them out of the problems they're having. Now, I know what problems they're having because not only was I a hypnotherapist at one stage, but I know based on my market research, you'll sort of see how that all comes together. So our outreach is not direct selling. It's what we call radar outreach. It's letting people know, hey, I have a lot of content. I can answer your common questions. Here's a little snippet. Here's a piece. And from there, you might turn an ordinary stranger into a fan, into a raving fan, and then hopefully within a month or so, or even sooner, maybe a little bit longer, there's no sort of blueprint here. You then eventually get that message saying, hey, John, I watched all your content. This is awesome. I've been binge watching all your content. I watched all your YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. I really want your help because I'm a smoker and I need to quit, depending on the niche. You can sort of see how that works. So don't get scared of outreach. If you've been taught to do outreach based on just sell to people, I would never do that. Okay. We used to teach that in the past, but it wasn't even that salesy. We have transcended from that to do this radar outreach, which is to create the content, which is always first and foremost, then start letting people know that, hey, I have this piece of content, and then we leave it to them. We let them watch the content. From there, that person that's watched the content, which is a potential customer, should hopefully reach out to us. All in all, if you never have someone reach out to you from that content, I guarantee you're slowly turning that person into a fan. You'll notice that maybe your YouTube channel is growing, word's getting out. What's crazy is I'll have people that we send the message to that don't respond. Then out of the blue, another person, which I haven't spoken to yet, messages me and say, hey, my friend Joe Blogs, who I sent the original message to, let me know that, hey, you might be able to help him with this, that sort of conversation. So now this person that I originally sent the message to hasn't responded, but now they've gone out and sourced new clients for me. So the radar outreach works really, really well. Not selling, guys. Create the content and then start letting people know that, hey, I've got good content. This might answer your common questions. Here's the video. Here's the piece of content. Then leave it with them, guys. So radar outreach definitely should be done.